We are continuing to monitor breaking news out of the White House about former President Joe Biden. His office just revealed that the 46th president is diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Let's check back in with Madeline Rivera. She is live at the White House for us. Madeline.
Hey, John. So, yes, we just got this information within the last half hour or so. So I do just want to read the statement from the personal office of former President Joe Biden. It says, last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be more hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. So there have been a lot of headlines and concerns regarding the president's cognitive health. It was one of the reasons why he was pushed out of the presidential candidacy last year. But there have been very few headlines and concerns regarding the president's own physical health. In fact, I went back to see what the president's results were from his annual physical last year, and it said President Biden is a healthy, active, robust 81-year-old male who remains fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency, to include those as chief executive, head of state, and commander-in-chief. So it is kind of shocking at this point. But the president, I've been thinking back to some of the activities that we've seen him do. This is a former president who was very active. We could see him go biking in Rehoboth Beach whenever he would go down there with his family. He was very physically fit and very active, at least for his age. So this is shocking news. Of course, we are waiting to hear more information.
So we got to talk about Joe Biden once again, because apparently he's got cancer, and an aggressive form of cancer that experts say there's no way that this just popped up in the last 100 to 200 days. This has been going on for quite some time. And I want to get into more of that because White House physician Kevin O'Connor basically promised us that Joe Biden was completely healthy. Okay. I mean, this stuff is just absolutely ridiculous that we have been lied to once again. There's no way that the president of the free world didn't have the best, treatment, care ever, right? And there's no way, in my humble opinion, that this guy, who is Kevin O'Connor, did not know that Joe Biden has had cancer. There's no way he didn't know. That is an absolutely unacceptable answer. And if you didn't know, why are you a physician? But there is a clip. You guys might remember this. There was a time where Joe Biden did say he had cancer. In 2022, he said, that's why everyone, including me, have cancer. And everybody thought it was just a gaffe. But was it? Check it out.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening. You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
That's why I and so many other people have cancer. Maybe he was telling the truth. I want to read this statement here. Last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. So all the way to the bone. You mean to tell me that happened in the last 100 days? I don't think so. Even MSNBC, with none other than Joe Scarborough, the liar-in-chief himself, they even admitted, he's had this for quite a while.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
And I'm just curious again, if your doctor to a president of the United States that is a male, that is an older man, would a prostate test, and again, we're just talking about a PSA screening, a blood test that you could do along with all the other blood tests. It's not even that it would be intrusive. Would this not be one of the first tests that you would conduct as a White House doctor?
If you're a White House doctor in this situation, I think you would certainly discuss it with the president and talk about the pros and cons. I think if you then ask, well, if President Biden says, well, if I'm your father, which patients often do, what would you recommend? I think the fact is that most White House doctors would recommend getting the test. And again, the evidence is, look at President Obama, President Bush, younger than President Biden, and they both got the test.
Yeah, so he definitely had it during his presidency and possibly even before his presidency. That was said on MSDNC. This isn't right-wing media, right? With Joe Scarborough, who we all know, that's the liar in chief himself. So you mean to tell me we were told that he had a clean bill of health for 4 straight years, but the whole time they knew this man had cancer? Here's another doctor.
Going to run for president for another 4 years. Obviously, the PSA exam is not 100% accurate, and I've never met a doctor that doesn't say you needed to do the PSA exam and also have the physical exam as well. I just find it hard to believe that any White House physician wouldn't say, okay, well, what my doctor and what every other doctor says, which is, okay, we've done the PSA test and that's fine, but at least once a year, we need to do a physical exam. Again, if you're just talking about a 78-year-old guy that is not running the free world, that's one thing. But if you're a White House physician and you have any man over 40 years old, are you not going to at least say, hey, once a year, like every other physician says, once a year, we need to do a physical exam and check? Because this is like one of the leading causes, one of the leading sicknesses for men over 40.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, I think 100%. And did they do a digital rectal exam to assess his prostate? Again, typically that's done in the presence of symptoms. To your point, he's the leader of the free world. Did they do it and not characterize it? It's hard to know. We're speculating here. I would say in an abundance of caution, probably be holistic and comprehensive. That would make sense. It is interesting to note that President Trump's, President Obama's, and President Bush II, in their most recent physicals, in their terms of office, obviously 2025 for President Trump, did comment on their PSA levels. And so they got screened while in office and they commented on it. It's not easy to access the most recent ones from President Biden. You can read the summary articles. I couldn't access it on the archive site on the White House.
So the three previous presidents, not including Biden, you can access and see their scores. But Joe Biden's, you can't? Interesting. I wonder why. Well, at least now we know why, right? Now we know exactly why. This guy has had cancer basically his entire presidency, and they hid it from us. Now, I wish Joe Biden the best. Obviously, cancer is a very scary thing, and I'm sure we all know someone, if not a family member, in my case, multiple family members that have died from this. It's a very serious thing. I don't wish this upon anybody. I don't want anybody to mistake what I'm saying as that. I wish Joe Biden a speedy recovery. I hope he recovers completely and the cancer leaves and it never returns. But the fact still remains. Why'd they lie? Why'd they lie? And because they lied, a lot of these folks, because this is the only thing they've lied about, right? They lied about his cognitive decline, okay? And now we find out his health was completely in decline. I mean, the man had cancer and nobody said anything about it. They just hid it, covered it up, push him back out there, guys. Push him back out there just to try to get a win. How terrible are these folks? An elderly man who's in cognitive decline, who has a cancer diagnosis, they're trying to push him out. Get your butt back out there. No, get out there. We got to defeat the orange guy. Get your butt back out there. Go. How sick is that? How sick are these people? And of course, none of them will apologize for it. None of them will admit, yeah, we knew, but we lied. None of them will do it. We've already seen Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer basically repeat the same line. Oh no, we're moving forward. We're looking forward. We're not looking back. Yeah, I bet you don't want to look back because you know it's a bunch of lies right behind you. Jeez, these people should never be trusted ever again, including mainstream media. Everybody that was involved in this cover up, and that includes mainstream media, because let's not mistake it. They communicate with the Democrat Party. They repeat some of the same lines the Democrat Party repeats too, right? Threat to democracy. They all were repeating the same lines. They all get the same memos. So they're involved in this too, in my humble opinion. Disgusting stuff, man. Absolutely disgusting stuff. But I hope he recovers and hope he lives the rest of his life in peace and in good health. But man, these people are just the worst of the worst. But what do you think, man? Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.